Welcome back to Tipsy Whiskey Shenanigans. I'm Steven, and tonight, whenever the heck you're watching this, we are getting into a bottle that might completely change my opinions of a brand. This is Larceny C923. Larceny C923 review. We are reviewing Larceny C923. Before we get into this, though, please do me that favor. Like, comment, and subscribe. That helps us out a ton, and we seriously appreciate the support. But let's get into this, and let's get into the contention I have with this bottle. So, my concerns with this bottle. This is the batch that is right after the batch that made me rethink my thoughts on Larceny. Larceny, I freaking hated. I tried B523 and it blew my freaking mind. That bottle is an absolute steal, absolutely incredible. But this bottle, does it compare? Does it compare? All the previous Larcenys to that B523, I'm not a fan of. I didn't really enjoy any of the ones I tried. Is Larceny getting better, or is B523 really just a freaking anomaly? Was it really just a steal? So we're getting into C923, and I'm probably going to pull out B523 to kind of compare because, you know, any excuse to drink B523, I'm into that. So this is Larceny C923. It is a C batch for 2023. MSRP roughly around like $70 in my area. And it is going to be 126.4 proof. This is basically Heaven Hill, like the Elijah Craig's version, or Heaven Hill's version of Elijah Craig that is weeded. Tongue twister. We filmed a few reviews. Don't worry about it. So we're going to answer, is the C batch from 2023 as good as the B batch? Is it still worth it? Because the B batch was a knockout of the park. Like, I would pay $100 for the B batch. That being said, is the C batch worth the $70 I paid for it? Let's get into it on the nose. Weeded Heaven Hill. Is it as good as I remember? Ooh, that is sweet and cinnamony. This might be worth it. I'll be honest, I don't remember really loving this bottle, but right now this smells freaking incredible. It is sweet pound cake with cinnamon. It's like a freaking cinnamon roll. But like if you like kind of doubled up the cinnamon, like you read the brown sugar cinnamon ratios a little bit off and you put way more cinnamon than you would brown sugar. Because it's doughy cinnamon. I poured the right one, right? This isn't the B. Okay. Yeah, just making sure, because I remember the B batch being an absolute cinnamon bomb too, which I love. I love myself a spicy whiskey. And this one's nice. Vanilla custard and that cinnamon spice is just like the two main dominant things. Like, it's literally a cinnamon roll that you just didn't add enough brown sugar to, and you added maybe a bit more cinnamon than you probably should have, which in a cinnamon roll might be a bit much, but on this nose, freaking incredible. Love the smell. Little bit of like a stale vanilla, which is that's like the note, like it's like a stale sour vanilla. I don't know how to describe it in words, but that's a note I get off of a lot of weeded whiskeys, and I typically don't really like it, but it's buried behind that bready, cinnamony note. Yeah, it's just slightly there, but also I might be looking for it subconsciously because I know it's a weeded bourbon, and that's something I look for in a weeded bourbon because typically it's an off-putting note for me, so I'm like, is that off-putting note there or is it not? Yeah, overall, I'm really kind of enjoying the nose. A little bit of a nuttiness, some nice cinnamon, baking spices, a little bit of oak, some nice vanilla custardy. Not getting a lot of fruity notes like that. That like vanilla and almond and that breadiness are just freaking taking over everything. Like so much freaking cinnamon, which I love. I freaking love that, but not very fruity. I don't know. Let's get on the palate and see how's it taste. Is it worth it? Ooh. It goes more into that off-putting note. And also, full disclosure, this is being reviewed by a guy who historically doesn't really like Larceny and historically doesn't really like weeded bourbons. It is that sour off-putting note that I don't really like. It's like this like really sweet, soury, vanilla, bready type characteristic. It leans way more into that on the palate. A little bit of nuttiness, still that freaking cinnamon and nutmeg. The nose is like an A+. I freaking love the nose. Maybe not an A+, because it does have a little bit of that soury note. Maybe more like a A-, but either way, the nose freaking great. Palate, I'm kind of so-so with. And it finishes into like this bitter, sour oak thing. Mid palate, it gets very sweet though, like very vanilla-y. Then it finishes that kind of bitter oak. I'm getting a bit more of a like nutty cinnamon on the finish now too. I'm very on the fence with this one. I like parts of it that, like, you know, that cinnamon, that spiciness is so good. But other parts like that soury, like weedy type flavor note that I'm not a huge fan of, which I know a lot of people are, but that's just not my jam, kind of kills it a little bit for me. So just so I make sure that I'm not like losing my mind and I'm being negative because it's not the B batch, let's crack open the B batch. Let's see. How do they compare? This isn't a blind comparison, so take it as you will, but I want to see how these Bad Mama Jammas compare. So far I'm leaning kind of like on like a try before you buy, leaning buy with the C batch because it's not bad. It's just not necessarily my jam. Let's get into it. On the nose comparing. Ooh, man. This is like stale Cinnamon Toast Crunch that has been soggy in the bowl filled with milk. And this is like right when you dump it out and all those like granulations and like those like cinnamon sugar particles are just kind of flying in the air when they hit the bowl and they kind of go up a little bit and it smells like Cinnamon Toast Crunch in there for the first time. That's how this is. So long story short, this one smells better. Like this is good. This one's great. Yeah, I freaking love that, man. Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Love. Like greatest cereal of all time. Probably not, but it's pretty good. God. Yeah, that does not have that funky weeded stuff, or it's just so buried by that cinnamon that I don't taste it. The C batch has that sour vanilla note. It's not so bad that it kills it for me. I'm leaning a buy. I think this is well worth it. Am I gonna constantly keep it on my shelf? No, but for $70, I put this on par with a lot of the other like Maker's Mark type stuff and whatever. I do really, really like that cinnamon. So like I'm a buy, but I'm barely a buy. But that's because I also am a hater. So take that as you will. I'm just a hater of, you know, weeded bourbons. So that being said, I am a buy on this bottle. If you're a really big fan of wheat whiskeys, definitely do not pass this. If you really dislike wheat whiskeys and you hate them, I would say probably pass on this, but I'm going to lean, I think it's well worth $70. So I'm a buy. That being said, this is a wrap for today's video. Please do me that favor, like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you thought about my video. Also, check out the Facebook, Instagram, and the Patreon. Let me know what you think about this bottle, too. What are your thoughts on the Larceny? Have you tried Larceny B batch? How do they compare to you? I'd like to see more thoughts of that. But again, that is a wrap for today's video. So I'll see y'all later. Cheers.